Hello, my name's Keri and I'm a brain aneurysm survivor. This is my brain aneurysm journey, part 4. Now, I'd just been to see a doctor that didn't have any bedside manner, that wasn't very supportive, and at the completion of that discussion with him, I was pretty unhappy. He had said that I would need to have a 3D imaging of the aneurysm, which meant that I'd have to have an angiogram, so he was thinking about perhaps sending me to an interventionalist and I would hear from him. But it had been quite some weeks and I was getting fearful. I was just so afraid, and I was really going through a lot of mental trauma with the whole thing, to be honest. The anxiety associated with the diagnosis like this is just, it's over the top. When it hits you, it's over the top. I was already had been put onto Seropax because my partner had a heart attack, and so I didn't even know what Seropax was going to do to me. But before seeing the difficult surgeon, as I would like to call him, I was having all sorts of issues, and being put into hospital with my muscles going crazy, and I was extra anxious, I think, because of the Seropax, and I can't take them, obviously, so they're off my list. But anyway, I had been to this doctor, and I decided that after not hearing from him, that it would be important for me to get a second opinion. So I went on the internet and started to, search high and low for a really, really wonderful doctor from brain surgeon from Brisbane. And I did a lot of research in that probably 2 days, really, and I found a doctor over at the Green Slopes Private Hospital who was a specialist. I mean, she absolutely specialised in brain aneurysms, so that looked like a really good option for me. I didn't really know much about the previous doctor at all, except that he was rude and obnoxious and very unsupportive. So when I made this appointment, I told her that it was for a second opinion, and when I told her who the other doctor was, she said, well, he must have been having a really bad day because he's normally a really good doctor, which I later found out that he was an extremely good doctor, but just didn't have that bedside manner for me, which I feel is really important. If you don't have, support from your surgeon, I don't think you can get through something like this. You've got to really fully trust and believe in him or her. But I saw this new doctor, and when I sat down in her office, she had already researched everything that I'd sent her. She'd looked at the case. She actually cried with me because I was so overwhelmed that a doctor, after having the first experience, that this new doctor could actually care so much about me and take such interest in me in such an empathic way. And that meant a lot to me. So she actually cried with me, and that was beautiful, unexpected, but so beautiful. And she just organised then all of the doctors that I would need. So I ended up having quite a number of doctors under her organisation. So I had an ENT, a neurologist, and a whole host of others. I ended up having around about 7 specialists on the team for this particular surgery. So that was great because that covered all areas before the surgery and also after. So, there was a lot of follow-up as well. So I left the office and went to have lunch at Green Slopes Hospital, and lo and behold, because the other doctor, by the way, the new doctor was going to set up an appointment for me to have this angiogram as soon as possible, because I was actually a category 1, listed as a category 1, so I had to be done pretty quickly within 90 days. When I got downstairs, my phone rang, and it was from the other doctor, who said to me that he had organised an interventionalist, and that was Dr. David Leggett, and I would be having my surgery done by him. He would be doing the initial 3D imaging so that we could get a really good look and know what distances we had. So that was the first angiogram, and that was scheduled to occur in December, on December 14th, I think it was. And it's quite amazing because every month, it was the 14th of every month that I had something happening. It was really weird. So I didn't say that I had gone to another doctor. I thought, well, it took me so long to get this appointment, there was no way that I was going to just let that go. I figured that it was important to, you know, maintain the appointment. So I did that, and Dr. Leggett's office got in touch with me, and next thing I know, I've got my appointment. I'm in having the angiogram in December 14th. I was terrified, of course, because you hear so much about it, you know, so many bad things, and you can die on the table. It's as simple and plain as that. So, but you know, what could I do? I had to go with this, so I didn't really have an option. Dr. David Leggett was amazing. He is such a caring and lovely man, and very, very good at his job. Put me at great ease when I went in. You had to actually walk in, which I thought was a little bit daunting. I found that quite daunting, to walk in and see everything in this really big surgery, this operating theatre. It was very different to anything I'd seen or been in before. And all the staff, of course, all the nurses were all ready to go with all the equipment. They put a thing on top of you to warm up the area where they're going to put the needles in the groin. And the nurse was lovely, because I said to her, I'm terrified, I'm really scared, you know, and she said, it's understandable. And I said, okay. She said, but you know, everything, you're in good hands, and he's a very good doctor, and we're a great team. And so once they gave me the fentanyl, I didn't care anymore. I had fentanyl injections, and that really relaxed me. And I remember feeling, the only thing I really felt, I think, was the dye going into the brain where they were doing the imaging. And they had this machine going all the way around me, which was scanning as we went. So, you know, generally once I came back out, I was awake, and I went home that night and recovered over the next 2 weeks. Very sore in the groin and very bruised. It actually took me a little bit longer to get organised, because we were coming into Christmas anyway, and I just took time to really relax and, you know, recover properly. But then I had to wait all through Christmas for those results. I had to wait right through till I got a date after Christmas because of the Christmas break. My Christmas, of course, was a nightmare. I was so depressed and so upset, just crying, scared. I was at the hospital a couple of times with anxiety, which I didn't think was anxiety at the time, because I was having head pain. And, you know, my advice to anyone who is going through that, go to the hospital anyway, because they're there to reassure you, and even if it's nothing, you at least know it's nothing. So I will be back and discuss my New Year's Eve and then into the new year as to what happens next. But so far, you know, up to this point, it was quite a harrowing experience, very much so.